All right, I just hit Infinite and I want to share my experience and the types of decks that I used to get to Infinite. I actually kind of chilled out and went at my own pace, and I very much enjoyed getting to Infinite. And this season, I did not want to use Shuri, not Shuri Red Skull, and I didn't because I had done it the last two seasons. So this season, I used largely decks like this. I actually used like 4 or 5 different decks. Now, before we get into the decks, I just wanted to say that I was able to get to Infinite this season in about 800 games. Last season was 900 games. The season before was 400. The season before that was 1200. The very first time that I hit Infinite was closer to 1600 games. I just want to put that out there that there is a lot of time required to hit Infinite. So it's not just like it happens very easily. And I feel like for me, about a week. Usually each season is about how long it takes for me to get to Infinite, and I'm happy with it. I've done it as early as 3 days, but I felt good doing it about a week. Now we're going to go over the decks that I used, and I got to give a shout out to untapped.gg, which I'm sponsored by. The link of that will be in the description. I do get credit if you download the tracker and use it on your Steam client, but this was incredibly helpful for compiling where I actually got my cubes and what decks I actually used into getting to Infinite. Typically, I have to guess, but with the tracker, I was actually able to pinpoint exactly what decks I used. And we're going to go over that. Now, I do want to talk about 2 cards. There are 2 Series 4 cards that I used in my climb to Infinite. One of them is Bast. And I believe Bast, along with these cards right here, will be dropping from Series 4 to Series 3 next Tuesday on the patch. That's my prediction. Now, the other card that I used a lot of is Darkhawk, and I'm not expecting Darkhawk to drop until 5 weeks from now. And I do recommend Darkhawk, and if you, let's say, already have Thanos and already have Galactus, and you want to try something new, I highly recommend Darkhawk, as long as you have Rock Slide and Mystique and Korg. Well, I think everybody has Korg. Darkhawk is amazing, and most of the decks that I used use Darkhawk, and I think he's worth 3,000 tokens. But he will be dropping from Series 4 to Series 3, probably best guessed in about 5 weeks. All right, I'm going to talk about the deck that I got to Infinite, and I do think this is the best deck in the game right now, and that is going to be a version of Darkhawk, Devil, Dino. And there's 2 versions of this deck that I used. There's this one here that has Maria Hill and Doctor Doom. The other version that I used, which is exactly the same, runs Quinjet and Moon Girl, and I like both of them the same. A lot of people have been replacing Maria Hill with Armor or Cosmo. Do we ever want? But I do like Maria Hill. Now, my absolute favorite card in this entire build, without a doubt, is Agent Coulson. He is the best. So my favorite thing in the world to do, and there's a couple reasons why I like Agent Coulson, but the main purpose of Agent Coulson is just to give power to Devil Dino. And you play on, let's say on turn 5, you play Devil Dino. Then on turn 6, you play Mystique and Agent Coulson. Agent Coulson draws 2 more cards, basically giving 4 more power to Mystique and 4 more power to Devil Dino. Let's say you add a 17 power Devil Dino, and then you play down Mystique, and then, she's sitting, you've dropped 2 cards, so you only have 5 cards in your hand. Then she's sitting at 10, and then you drop Coulson. She goes to 14 and he goes to 17, and then he gets 4 power. So Agent Coulson's effectively, for 3 mana, 12 power. It's bonkers. Now, the other reason that I like Maria Hill and Agent Coulson is that they give you random cards. Now, I never plan on playing the cards. The cards are there just to give power to Devil Dino. But Agent Coulson pulls a 4 and a 5, which technically has synergy with Zabu, right? But sometimes it just pulls a random card that wins you the game, and your opponent is completely blindsided by it. There's this one match where I just played not that long ago where Agent Coulson actually pulled like um, what was it? Super Scroll and Sandman, and I was playing against a Mr. Negative deck, and Mr. Negative, came out into the board, and Super Scroll was already out. And then I played Sandman, and then the Super Scroll got all of the buffs from his Iron Man, and he could only play one card. It is so random and so unpredictable, and that's a good thing. Now, I would never count on the cards for Maria or Agent Coulson, specifically Agent Coulson, but you just never know, and it makes the game highly unpredictable from your opponent, and they're not going to be able to know what that is. So I think Agent Coulson's amazing. I also think Doom is amazing just in general right now. I feel like when I'm playing up against an opponent and I'm deciding to retreat or not, there's 3 cards that I'm considering is like, do they have Doom? Do they have Chavez? Do they have Shang-Chi? And if they can beat me with one of those 3 cards, I'm probably retreating because 40-something% of the decks right now are playing Shang-Chi. It's the most played card now that they've nerfed Sunspot. He's took place of Sunspot. A lot of decks run Chavez to make them more consistent. And then the superstar, ever since like the Arrow nerf, is Doom. So those are like the 3 cards that I'm always considering in every match. And if I think that they can win with one of those 3 cards, I'm probably retreating. And again, if you don't want to play Maria Hill, I get it. Quinjet, Moon Girl are excellent options. I had quite amazing results with these decks. The Quinjet verse, and I had a 68% win rate. I gained 6 cubes, and that is fantastic. And that means I was averaging 1 cube per game. And then on the Maria Hill Doom, I didn't quite have the same results, 0.53, and then my win rate was 53%. So this data suggests that the Quinjet Moongirl version actually was better for me. Now, the other deck that I played that got me here was a bounce deck. This is a deck that was, let's say, popularized by Jeff, and he played it in a tournament, and Hitmonkey made it better. There's a couple versions of this deck. A lot of people remove Black Widow and play Falcon, or they remove Chavez and play Falcon. I think the Falcon version without Black Widow is actually a little bit better. There's some mild synergy with Black Widow and Korg for sure, but it also runs Darkhawk. This is a ton of fun to play. I played this early when the Hitmonkey came out, and I was able to climb with this deck. It is a blast to play. That there is a higher, like this doesn't have like a linear path. Like you have to make a lot of decisions. What do you do? Should you play Bishop before, or when do you play Bast? All that stuff. But typically, I want to just talk about this. And I've talked about this a lot. There's this Mysterio package. There's some insane synergy with Mysterio, Bast, Hitmonkey, and Bishop. Mysterio is not like Squirrel Girl. Mysterio is not like Doom. Mysterio's not like White Tiger. It's basically you're playing 3 cards simultaneously, 3 zeros, and then one of them converts to a 4, so 4 total power. The interaction with Bast is amazing. You play Bast when you have Mysterio in your hand, and they all get converted to 3s. So when you play Mysterio, you're playing 3 3s, 9 total power. So Bast basically is feeding 5 power to Mysterio. The other interaction that is amazing with Mysterio is that Bishop gets 3 points, and Hitmonkey also, it counts for 3 cards, so he gets 6 power. So if on turn 4 you play Mysterio and Hitmonkey, the Hitmonkey is for 6 power. So that is kind of like the Mysterio package. Bast, Hitmonkey, Mysterio, and Bishop work quite well. And I played this deck quite a bit. The last deck that I played, well, I played 2 more decks. Oh, I want to show you my stats on this one right here. My stats were pretty good. I had a 59% win rate, average cubes per game, 0.56. And so that was quite exceptional. The next deck I played is Iron Monkey, which is a similar version of that. It's a little bit different. Iron Monkey, largely is the same deck. Does not run Chavez, does not run Black Widow. Instead, it runs Iron Man. And Iron Man is amazing with Mystique. So the synergy here is with Mystique and Darkhawk. And I believe this was a deck popularized by Dexter. But Mystique can play into behind Iron Man or Darkhawk. So there's lots of synergy there. And this might as well, it's called Iron Monkey, but it's pretty much a Bast deck. Bast affects every card in this deck favorably. So Bast, might as well call it a Bast. I think a lot of people call this Iron Monkey, but it's pretty much a Bast deck. A ton of fun to play. The only problem I have with this deck is you typically play Iron Man on turn 5, and people typically retreat. You don't get to go much further. And then on the 6th turn, you can either copy the Iron Man with Mystique or dump your hand and hit Monkey and all that stuff. I had good results with this deck. Let's go look at the stats for this deck right here. Iron Monkey, yeah, 54% win rate, 0.57 average cubes per game. That was a lot of fun. And then the last deck that I used, and I used this just a little bit at the beginning of the season, was Sarah Control. Sarah Control is one of my just favorite decks in the entire game. I think I took Armor out and just put in Iron Monkey. So basically it's a standard Sarah Control deck, which I played a lot of. And I just put in Hit Monkey instead of Armor. And this was fine. Nothing new. The only thing I can say about this deck is that I really enjoy playing Sarah on turn 5, snapping before I play Sarah, and then saving like Nova and Killmonger and Scarlet Witch and Shang-Chi and Enchantress or Maximus for the last turn for surprise. Scarlet Witch into Limbo is amazing. It blows up Limbo, and then the game ends on turn 6. Nova, Killmonger, it's just a good combo. And then Hit Monkey worked perfectly in this build as well. So that deck right there was my Sarah Control. Average 0.4 cubes per game. I had a negative win rate, believe it or not. And then the rest of the decks here I tried. I did not have good luck. Maybe I wasn't patient enough. I had a hard time with the Galactus deck and gave up on that. Except for this Dinosaur deck, I could be the best deck in the game right now. If we look at the tier list put out by untapped.gg, we look at, players playing in Infinite, let's say levels 90 to 99, it's Shuri, Darkhawk. Look at the stats are nearly the same, right? And Shuri is going to get modified next week, right? They're going to do something to Shuri. Then what? The best deck in the game is going to be Darkhawk. And then we got Bounce, doing better than Electro Ramp, which I don't enjoy playing against or playing. All right, so let me know what your experience with getting to Infinite, and what do you think is going to happen next week when they finally do something to Shuri? And as always, thanks for watching. Keep on gaming. Bye for now.